Hey guys, in this video I'm going to go over the key ideas from chapter 1 of Ray Dalio's upcoming book, The Changing World Order, which you can read in full on Ray Dalio's website at principles.com, which I highly recommend. So in a nutshell, Ray studies the rise and fall of the last three reserve currency empires, which were the Dutch Empire, the British Empire, and now the US. And he also goes into a lot of details about China too. A lot of the turbulent times that have occurred throughout history has been because of money and credit collapses, disparities in wealth, fights over wealth and power, as well as severe acts of nature, including epidemics like the one that we're currently going through. A lot of the cycles that have happened in history has been predominantly for the same reasons. And in terms of the single most important force that's causing the world's total wealth, power, and living standards to improve over the long run has actually been human productivity. So it's in us learning to do things better. So for example, the invention of the printing press in Europe increased the amount of knowledge and education available to a lot of people, which led to the European Renaissance, the Scientific Revolution, the Enlightenment, and the Industrial Revolution. So humanity's ability to adapt and improve is the greatest power, which produces the long-run improvement in our everyday living standards. So generally speaking, better educated people produce societies that are innovative, competitive, and productive, and it's what enables a country to rise in power. Learning shifted wealth and power away from what used to be an agrarian economy to land ownership, which became the primary source of power, and then to an industrial economy, which where capitalists that owned production capabilities had all the power. Now the shift is happening again, but it's going into digital, so things like data and information processing. And this will go on to become the most valuable thing. And this will create conflict over who gets the data, since this is going to be one of the main currencies in terms of gaining wealth and power going forward. Now we'll go over the shifts in power that have happened in history. So these are just kind of like some major highlights. So China was the most powerful in the last 1400 years, consistently outperforming Europe in trade. Then China entered a period of steep decline starting from the 1800s. The Dutch Empire became the world's most powerful empire starting in the 1600s. And then it was the UK with its power peaking in the 1800s. And then came the States, which has been the world's superpower for the last 150 years. And now the US is in relative decline while China is catching up again. Now, the big cycle from a bird's eye level view is you can split it into the ascent, the top, and then the decline. So the ascent is typically characterized by strong leadership, strong military, education, productivity, having financial markets, and general competitive advantages. At this stage, there are low levels of debt, there are small wealth gaps, and there's generally a peaceful world. Then once you get to the top, there's still sustained strengths, but there's seeds of loss and competitive advantages that are planted. The rich naturally work less hard, they become more leisurely, less productive, and they seek more luxuries. There's a great quote from Will Durant, which is that nations are born stoic and they die Epicurean. An early sign of the top phase is when the richest get into debt by borrowing from the poorest. And this is what the US has done with China and what the British previously had done with its poor colonies. Next and final, you have the decline phase. So the seeds of decline are planted during the top phase. So the debts and the wealth disparity at this stage become very large. There are large gaps in values and politics as people struggle to work well together, which leads to a lot of political polarization and political extremism. The rise of a powerful rival usually leads to a period of painful fighting, destruction, and eventually war that leads to a reset, which establishes a new world order, and then the whole cycle sort of repeats again. So yeah, so that's the essence of the big cycle in a nutshell. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.